One of my favorite shows to work on here on Comic Drake is called The Comic Armory. It's where I take a look at various armors and weapons in comic books to explain their powers and abilities and all that stuff. And when Wonder Woman 1984 came out, I thought this is a great opportunity. This golden armor is iconic. And even though I don't know much about it, you know, what's to stop me from reading every single appearance that it has ever been in to explain the details? And I did. And the downside is that there's really not much to it. So instead of making a big old deep dive video like I normally would, I'm just gonna explain it here because there is actually a lot of fascinating history, even if like the actual, abilities aren't that neat. So come join me on this descent into madness. So this golden eagle armor doesn't actually have a name, but some fans have taken to calling it the screaming chicken armor, which I'm personally not a fan of because it sounds really, really dumb. It first appeared in a little series called Kingdom Come, which is an Elseworlds book, meaning that it doesn't take place in the main DC Comics continuity. It's all an alternate, different universe. It's about a bunch of older superheroes. All of your big DC boys in the Justice League, they got old and they went off, and some of them retired, some of them just went a little crazy, and there's a new generation of young heroes, and they are completely irresponsible. They are just making a muck of things left and right, and then the old guys then come back, kind of whip them into shape, and there's a big meta-human war. So because we're looking at decades in the future, all of your classic DC heroes have been redesigned. Green Lantern is a knight now, Batman has a public identity as Bruce Wayne, he's all broken thanks to Bane, so he has like this weird like metal frame keeping him around. Superman's got a edgy, dark shield in the middle of his chest now. And then Wonder Woman was sporting her normal outfit for a while, but then when the various metahumans all clashed, she donned this golden armor. And we don't know anything about it. It's just kind of there. I think it was just to give her an iconic look. And it then became very iconic because Kingdom Come is a seminal work in DC Comics. It's incredibly influential, and especially for Wonder Woman, because Kingdom Come was one of the first books to really lean into the warrior aspect of Wonder Woman. Before, she was kind of just like another Superman. She was very much optimistic and very much peace-oriented, which I still think the character should be, but the modern depiction of Wonder Woman that we see today, where she is a warrior first and foremost, did kind of originate here. So it makes a lot of sense that various writers that are then taking Wonder Woman in this direction would be pulling inspiration from Kingdom Come. Another fascinating thing, though, is that this armor could actually be inspired by a completely different comic series. See, the artist of Kingdom Come, Alex Ross, was also doing the covers for a different book called Astro City. And in issue number 4, they introduced this new character who's very Wonder Woman-esque. And if you take a look at her outfit, that is like clearly the same thing that she would then don later in the Kingdom Come series. That issue came out like a year before she donned the outfit in Kingdom Come, but since Alex Ross does all these watercolor artworks, that takes a long time. So it's kind of hard to tell which came first, the screaming chicken or the egg. Either way, there's clearly some cross-contamination in the designs, which I think is interesting. As far as powers and abilities go, the armor doesn't really seem to do anything too special for her. I mean, she could already fly, so she doesn't need the wings. She's already bulletproof and resistant to most things. Also, she has a shield and her bracelets, so just being covered head to toe and exposed legs, I guess, doesn't really do her any good. It just kind of looks cool. And even whenever they brought this design over into the mainstream comics, they still didn't say it did anything. And really, it just kind of appears for no reason whatsoever. Now, the various guidebooks have since said that this is a ceremonial battle armor, but there's no real rhyme or reason to when she dons it. Just sometimes it feels like writers want to go, oh, hey, remember Kingdom Come? Let's do that. And then she'll put it on, and then she'll have maybe like an issue or two, and then it just goes away. Usually whenever she's all, suited up, she'll have various weapons like her axe, her sword, her spear, yada, yada, yada. But even then, those don't seem to be anything too out of the ordinary. One thing that I really do like, though, is that this armor has actually become a bit of a thing for Amazonians in general, or at least people in the Wonder Woman family. So, Donna, Cassie, the Wonder Girls, they have their own silver and bronze versions of the suit. Hippolyta, Wonder Woman's mom, she gets her own version of the armor for just like a couple little scenes. that's neat. Actually, I do need to go back on the powers and abilities because I completely forgot that this armor can also have a dome that'll go over her head, which gives her a supply of fresh air somehow. So like if there's toxins or radiation or she goes underwater in space, we only see it in like one issue, but it's there and it's weird and it makes no sense for this. And honestly, that is all there is to this armor. It just shows up from time to time for the writer and artist to go, hey, remember that book that y'all really liked? We remember that book and we really liked that. Fan service, have some fan service. I actually really like what they did with it in Wonder Woman 1984 because it gave some much needed backstory. So in the movie, this armor was belonging to an ancient Amazonian warrior. She's the best they've ever had. So when Diana wears it, it's a big deal. And I don't think they mentioned it in the movie, but because there was the statue of her in the big obstacle course at the beginning, like, does whoever win that whole challenge get to wear the armor? I don't know if that was made clear. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but that would be cool too. Even if in the comics, Wonder Woman and the Wonder Girls and Hippolyta's, if their armors are just an homage to that ancient warrior, that'd be cool too. It definitely gives a lot more depth to the backstory of the Amazons and Amazonian culture. I think that's incredibly cool, and yeah, I really hope they adopt that into the comics. And really, that's all there is to this armor. I thought it would be really cool, like she puts it on and she becomes 10 times more powerful, or she can absorb solar radiation and shoot a giant burst of energy from her chest, or like she can shoot the feathers of the wings, razor blade, Archangel style from the X-Men. But no, it's just a large suit of armor that looks cool. Definitely not worth making a big old video for. But if you want to know more about various weapons and armors and comics, hey, check out my show, The Comic Armory. It's pretty neat. And if you want more of these unscripted rambly rants, I got those too. I've got other good videos. Go watch them all, please. I desperately need the views and money. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Cheers.